Born on June 19, 1861 in Calamba, Philippines, Jose Rizal Mercado y Alonzo Redonda came from a prominent family. His mother, Teodora, fostered his artistic and intellectual curiosity, while his father, Francisco, taught him agriculture and business. He excelled in various subjects, graduating from the Ateneo Municipal de Manila at 16 with top honors. In 1878, Rizal enrolled in medicine at the University of Santo Tomas in Manila. However, facing discrimination against Filipinos, he transferred to Madrid, Spain in 1882. In the same year, Rizal co-founded the La Liga Filipina, a group advocating for social and political reforms in the Philippines. He also became a major figure in the propaganda movement, using writing as a tool for raising awareness for Filipino grievances. In 1887, Rizal published his most famous novel, Noli Me Tángere, meaning touchmenot. Rizal's outspoken criticism to the Spanish government led to his arrest upon his return to the Philippines in 1892. He was accused of inciting rebellion through his writings and exiled to Dapitan, a remote town in Mindanao Island. Despite the limitation of exile, Rizal continued to contribute to society. He established a medical clinic, opened a school, and even conducted agricultural research. He also wrote a second novel, El Filibusterismo, a darker sequel to Noli Me Tángere that explored the potential consequences of violent revolution. In 1896, Rizal was falsely accused of participating in the Philippine Revolution and subsequently executed by the Spanish colonial government on December 30, 1896.
A formar! Carguen! Apunten! Consumatum est!
Prominent works of literature played a profound and fundamental function in shaping society across various dimensions by serving as catalysts for social reform and identity construction. Noli Me Tángere, Latin for touchmenot, is a novel originally written in Spanish by Philippine writer and national hero Jose Rizal. The inception of this book in 1887 in Berlin, Germany, was spurred by multiple influential factors, including the author's deep-seated personal connection derived from his mother's experience of severe injustice at the hands of the vindictive Spanish Guardia Civil, and the profound impact of Herrick Stowe's pivotal work, Uncle Tom's Cabin, further motivated the author to shed light on the prevailing issue of Spanish colonial abuse in the Philippines through the medium of writing and print. Reflecting on the historical era of Spanish colonialization in the Philippines, it is indisputable that this literary work held immense significance in shaping the collective consciousness of Filipinos towards a distinct national identity and indirectly influencing a revolution. The presentation of these issues then emerges from the thematic elements of primarily colonialism, power and religion, reform and revolution, and education. Consequently, Rizal's objective in crafting the novel was not just met but surpassed. Its profound impact remains so pronounced that in contemporary Philippine education, the study of Noli Me Tángere is a compulsory component at the high school level, stipulated by Republic Act No. 1425, commonly known as the Rizal Law. Noli Me Tángere is a reflection on the social injustices of the colonial era that exposes the atrocities and abuses perpetrated by priests and the Spanish colonial regime in the Philippines. At its core, the narrative revolves around Juan Crisostomo Ibarra, who returns to his homeland after completing a 7-year education in Europe. After being initially welcomed warmly by Captain Tiago, he quickly becomes the target of censure from Padre Damaso. Later, Ibarra unravels the distressing truth surrounding the unjust persecution and demise of his father, Don Rafael, who was accused of heresy by Padre Damaso. Rather than resorting to vengeance, Ibarra resolves to perpetuate his father's legacy by establishing his school. However, his life alters dramatically when he faces excommunication from the church and subsequent imprisonment, accused of orchestrating an assault on the barracks. Meanwhile, Padre Damaso coerces Ibarra's beloved Maria Clara into a forced marriage with another suitor. Amid these trials, Ibarra stages a daring escape from confinement with the aid of his comrade Elias, but is believed to have met his death after the chase. Maria Clara, shattered by the presumed loss of Ibarra, elects to take refuge in a monastery. The novel's conclusion pivots in Elias, gravely injured, contemplating the profound sacrifices made in service to the nation. In its portrayal, Noli Me Tángere is a narrative that vividly displays various facets of society, exposing the brutal realities of the time while poignantly highlighting the resilience and sacrifices inherent within the fabric of Filipino society. Jose Rizal's Noli Me Tángere was not penned in a vacuum. Its powerful narrative of injustice and longing for freedom emerged from the turbulent historical and cultural context of 19th century Philippines under Spanish colonial rule. In fact, by the mid-19th century, Spanish rule had solidified its grip on the Philippines for over 300 years. This historical context assists in illustrating the connections between the themes presented in this literary work and societal realities of that era. Colonialism and oppression were mainly prevalent, encompassing brutal governance, cultural assimilation, and religious influence. This system includes oppressive measures like forced labor, land grabs, and suppression of indigenous culture. Noli Me Tangere reflects these grim realities through characters like Elias, the persecuted peasant, and Ibarra's confrontations with corrupt officials. Rizal also critiques the attempts to erase Filipino identity by imposing the Spanish language, customs, and values through characters like Basilio, who was torn between his heritage and European education. The novel explores the cultural alienation and identity crisis inflicted by colonialism. Moreover, the Catholic Church wielded immense power, often aligning with colonial interests. Being raised in a Catholic family, Rizal witnessed the Church's complex role in colonial society, wherein the novel sparks a critical examination of religious authority and its potential for liberation and repression. In addition, themes of social inequality and injustice are also evident in the novel. Noli Me Tángere contrasts the illustrated class wealthy lifestyle with the Filipino masses' poverty and suffering. Characters like Sisa and Elias represent marginalized communities exploited by the colonial system and the church. Spanish officials and the influential figures within the church wield their authority with impunity, exploiting their possessions for personal gain and oppressing the vulnerable. The novel condemns corruption and critiques the power imbalances that impede justice and social progress. Characters like Ibarra and Sisa embody the struggles, courage, and sacrifices of individuals facing overwhelming injustice, provoking contemplation and the need for action and societal change. Consequently, the persistent oppression contributes significantly to the rise of nationalism and identity formation. The book captures the growing discontent and desire for freedom among Filipinos, Chrysostom's disappointment with assimilation, and Elias' passion for revolution represent the simmering discontentment under colonial rule. The novel ignites a sense of Filipino identity and national consciousness, urging readers to reclaim their heritage and strive for freedom. Chrysostomo advocates for peaceful change through education and economic progress, while Elias embodies a more radical revolutionary approach. This internal conflict reflects the complexity of the struggle against colonial power and the diverse strategies considered by Filipinos. Moreover, the novel emphasizes the importance of preserving Filipino traditions and values, offering a foundation for rebuilding a distinct national identity. Furthermore, morality and conscience are also present in the literary work. It challenges and questioning obedience to both colonial authorities and the church. Characters like Crisostomo and Padre Florentino advocate critical thinking and individual conscience as a foundation of true morality. The novel invites readers to question established power structures and their justification for oppression. The role of faith is also explored through multiple characters. Padre Florentino represents a compassionate, liberating faith that inspires social action, while others like Padre Damaso and Padre Salve embody religious fanaticism and hypocrisy. The novel encourages readers to examine their own beliefs and contemplate the moral implications of their conduct. While individual resistance and sacrifices are depicted, the novel eventually suggests that systemic change requires collaborative action for solidarity and shared purpose in deconstructing oppressive system and building a just society. In terms of style and techniques in the novel, Rizal masterfully uses various artistic and literary techniques such as vivid imagery and symbolism, powerful metaphors and similes, and the utilization of humor and satire. The author's idealization of nature was significantly evident in the novel. Rizal paints landscapes, contrasting the Philippine countryside's serene beauty with colonial towns' oppressive ambience. By contrasting Sisa's collapse into madness with the peacefulness of the forest, the author symbolizes how colonial forces negatively impact both individual mental health and the overall welfare of the community. Moreover, the tragic love story between Maria Clara and Crisostomo Ibarra symbolizes the challenges faced by Filipinos under colonial rule, where even personal happiness is not guaranteed. Ibarra's betrayal by friends and loved ones also reflects the broader theme of the Filipino people's struggles for trust and unity in the face of oppression. Light and darkness also represented the struggle between good and evil, hope and despair. The novel depicts the beauty and potential of the Philippines, but also reveals the darkness of colonial oppression and injustice. In addition, Rizal often employs metaphors to highlight social inequality and injustice. He compares the oppressed Filipinos to slaves and cattle, emphasizing their lack of autonomy and dehumanization under colonial rule. This stark comparison provoked outrage and empathy, driving home the urgency of social change. However, despite its dark subject matter, the author employs satire and wit to critique the arrogance and hypocrisy of colonial officials, characters, and the church. Apart from challenging unjust colonial authority, there is a critical examination of pretentiousness among certain Filipinos. These individuals, influenced by societal privileges and Spanish cultural dominance, have obscured their indigenous heritage, adopting a Spanish identity instead. This phenomenon is exemplified by Doña Espadaña, who fabricates a Spanish persona, concealing her true Filipino heritage to conform to a specific social class. Her attempt to emulate Spanish appearance and language generates a touch of humor. Her efforts to assimilate into Spanish culture provide entertainment due to her struggle to reflect the imitation of another culture at the expense of her Filipino roots. Moreover, Doña Espadaña's action drew ridicule from others, portraying her as a social climber and satirical figure within the novel. Instead of merely serving as satire, this mockery further underscores underlying societal issues, ranging from trivial societal absurdities to significant political concerns. Further, the novel's satirical nature effectively balances the tragedy and provides moments of relief while further highlighting the absurdity and injustice of the system. While Jose Rizal's Noli Me Tángere undoubtedly holds immense significance in shaping Filipino national identity and influencing the revolution against Spanish rule, it is not without its weaknesses and limitations. Some argue that the novel's plot leans heavily on melodrama, with characters facing exaggerated situations and dramatic twists of fate. While melodrama aids in connecting to the audience, this can detract from the realistic portrayal of colonial injustices and social issues. Some significant examples are the exaggerated situations and the convenient plot devices, such as Crisostomo Ibarra's miraculous escape from the execution, which underpins the melodramatic framework, overshadowing the everyday hardships and subtle forms of oppression faced by most Filipinos. One limitation of this work is the oversimplification of the complex interplay of power dynamics with the colonial system. Experts argue that the focus on Spanish brutality might neglect the roles of Filipino collaborators and the nuances of class and economic factors within the colony. However, it is acceptable that Rizal might have deliberately chosen to focus on the direct brutality of Spanish authority to evoke an emotional response and raise awareness about the immediate injustices faced by Filipinos, explaining the vilified Spanish and heroic Filipino characters. According to Guron 2018, another controversial limitation of the book was that, despite its contribution to the nationalism of the country, the book's stereotypical representation of women, which mainly comprised Maria Clara as the ideal Filipina, Sisa as the ideal mother, and Doña Victorina, the social climber. This portrayal, possibly intentional and satirical, led to a problematic understanding of the woman in the novel, constructing a narrow perception of Filipino womanhood as inflamed, submissive to authority, and meek, rooted in the enduring consequence of Spanish patriarchal rule. The miseries Maria Clara, Sisa, and Doña Victorina encountered were defined by their resilience, persistence, and strong Catholic faith, thus advertising an enduring and God-fearing Filipina. This depiction's emphasis on servitude and suffering sparked debates on whether these female characters serve as positive role models for modern Filipinas. Moreover, Rosas noted that 1920s women advocates targeted Maria Clara as an unrealistic representation of Filipino women, and later activists in the 1980s urged the rejection of Maria Clara and Sisa as standard models due to their portrayal symbolizing the enduring impact of Spanish rule, which was destructive if the country hoped to advance. However, with all of these, experts also argue that clearly the women in Noli are fiction and are mere stereotypes of the ideologies Rizal wanted to eradicate. However, this was unsuccessful as this attempt fell short, perpetuating these notions in the consciousness of Filipinas across generations. Although Jose Rizal's Noli Me Tángere has its flaws and constraints, its significance is beyond doubt. Noli Me Tángere transcends a mere literary masterpiece. It became a source of inspiration for future revolutionaries like Andres Bonifacio, its ideas fueling the Philippine Revolution and the eventual quest for freedom. Moreover, the book played a pivotal role in fostering political organizations and movements advocating for change. It empowered people, fostering a more informed and engaged citizenry that demanded increased political involvement and representation. Beyond its immediate impact, Noli Me Tángere marked a crucial shift in the Philippine literature, laying the groundwork for a distinct national literary tradition. Even today, it remains a cornerstone of the Philippine literature, sparking ongoing discussions about identity, history, and social justice. Its themes continue to resonate particularly with contemporary struggles for equality and liberty. The narrative of Noli Me Tángere encapsulates the tension between corrupt politics and governance, maintaining an unwavering emotional intensity throughout. Moreover, its third-person perspective effectively conveys the characters' reflections and passionate outbursts, inviting readers to connect with the circumstances depicted emotionally. This narration style allows readers to inhabit the atmosphere alongside the characters, forming a mutual understanding of the current moment, an emotional attachment that exceeds the pages of the book. In summary, Jose Rizal's personal background significantly influenced the creation of Noli Me Tángere. His first-hand encounters with injustice, cultural awakening, personal challenges, and unyielding faith in his people infused the novel with authenticity, depth, and a compelling plea for social and political change. While this experience provided the foundation, Rizal masterfully wove them into a universal narrative that continues to captivate and provoke readers globally. Essentially, corroborating with Guron's 2018 stand, portraying women in the book may be limited. It is crucial for contemporary Filipinos to perceive Sisa and Maria Clara as heroines of their era rather than strict models to imitate or criticize, as they undeniably hold immense importance due to their diverse roles and multifaceted representations, which furtherly shed light to the novel's exploration of colonial oppression, social norms, and human resilience. Instead, a modern Filipina should define her own identity by understanding both the historical context and the current societal needs, forging and empowering her path forward despite adversity and repression. Overall, scholars and readers widely recognize Noli Me Tangere as a well-crafted piece of literature. Despite its flaws, its strengths in storytelling, vivid imagery, and historical significance firmly establish it as a masterpiece in the Philippine literature, offering a profound critique of colonialism and social injustices. Jose Rizal's Noli Me Tangere's impact transcends the limitation of time and genre. It stands as a transformative work that not only shaped a nation and ignited a revolution, but also continues to ignite critical discourse. As platform for societal change, Noli Me Tángere remains a testament to the power of literature to illuminate historical injustices, shape identity, and inspire ongoing struggles for a more just and equitable world. Its enduring legacy serves as a vibrant reminder that the pages of a book can, indeed, become weapons in the fight for oppression, freedom, and liberation.